joy and relief as Iran releases hikers. While awaiting pictures to prove that Joshua Futal is finally free, his family expressed joy as supporters of the American hiker imprisoned for more than 2 years in Iran cautiously exhaled. "Today can only be described as the best day of our lives," read a statement issued by the families of Futal and Shane Bauer. LA school named after guitarist Carlos Santana. Legendary guitarist Carlos Santana has hit records and 10 Grammys, and now he has a school named after him in North Hills. Mosquito advisory issued for Miami-Dade after case of West Nile confirmed. A 27-year-old Miami-Dade County man has become the first person to contract West Nile virus locally this year, the county health department said Wednesday. West Nile is a mosquito-borne illness, so the county's mosquito control division is urging all residents to drain any standing water and cover any containers to prevent mosquitoes from laying their eggs. The county is also spraying for mosquitoes. What does this mean? The county is spraying? Spraying what, and where, and how? If you live in Miami-Dade, please just take a few precautions. And keep an eye out for further news of spraying. Does this by chance have anything to do with the genetically modified mosquitoes released by Bill Gates and his crew? Just a few things to keep in mind amidst your research. Yahoo accused of censoring Occupy Wall Street emails. An article from Kurt Nimmo mirrored an activist post. Videos show users successfully sending emails with different addresses. Yahoo claims the error messages were unintentional and caused by spam filters. Yahoo is notorious for helping the authoritarian government of China build its censorship firewall, known as the Great Firewall of China. And an article from Activist Post titled, "Smart Meters Can Reveal Your Personal Habits in the Worldwide Energy Web." Smart meters are showing up across the U.S. despite pockets of fierce resistance. These meters are part of the smart grid system which relays real-time, wireless data in order to monitor and distribute energy used down to the tiniest detail. The professed purpose of this grid system, to reduce carbon emissions, is ringing more hollow than ever, as both health and privacy concerns are taking center stage for an increasing number of people who are aware of the dangers on both levels. Smart meters use radio frequency microwaves. Last night, a low-pressure system over the Atlantic morphed into the full-blown tropical storm Ophelia despite earlier forecasts by weather watchers that the system had little chance of intensification. Now, a gradual strengthening is expected over the next day or so, the National Hurricane Center said. Few things about this hurricane system have been typical even if the number of Category 5 hurricanes has been few and far between. Asia has been hammered by a string of cyclones that have rarely missed inland areas even in the midst of one of the wettest monsoon seasons on record. Storms in the Atlantic have likewise been mercurial, holding hurricane watchers in suspense, even though most have steered clear of the U.S. mainland. Next-gen boot spec could forever lock Linux off Windows 8 PCs. Without a key, Linux will be unable to boot off the machine. It may be possible for Linux distro makers to somehow offer signed versions of Linux, but this too is problematic as this would require a bootloader not covered by the GPL. It also doesn't help people who want to run their own custom tweaked versions of Linux. Enterprise users should be sure to voice their concerns with their hardware supplier Dell, IBM, HP, Toshiba and so on. Let them know that just because the technology exists to take choice away from you, doesn't mean they should use it. Deadly mudslides hit Guatemala day after quake. The mudslides occurred near the small community of Santa Cruz Barrias, at an altitude of 1,500 meters 5,000 feet near the Mexican border, some 400 kilometers 250 miles north of the capital. David De Leon, an emergency official, said 4 homes were swept away by the mud. Staff raced to save Fukushima plant from Japan's storm. Workers at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant on Japan's Pacific coast were racing against time to ready the crippled plant against a powerful typhoon, Loose cables and hoses were being tied down and efforts made to ensure radiation was not whipped up by winds that had been recorded at more than 125 miles an hour. Teams were putting sheeting over holes in the reactor buildings to try to prevent torrential rain from getting inside the stricken reactors. Typhoon Roki made landfall near Hamamatsu, central Japan, at about 2:00 p.m. and was on course to move northeast across the major island of Honshu toward the plant. Italian newspaper Corriere della Sera has published details of the international investigation into the activities of Dr. Michele Ferrari and his many clients, including Lance Armstrong, Dennis Menchov and Michele Scarponi. Ferrari remains banned for life by the Italian Cycling Federation based on rider testimony and other evidence that he provided doping products to athletes, but was cleared of criminal charges in 2006. However, the prestigious Milan-based broadsheet quotes from detailed police documents, lifting the lid on the investigation being carried out in Italy, Switzerland and the USA, and suggesting that 30 people are suspected of being part of a criminal association. Secret vaccination of children with no parental consent. How do pharmaceutical giants like Merck respond to increasing resistance by parents to vaccinate their children due to dangerous vaccine ingredients, an ever-growing immunization schedule, skyrocketing cases of autoimmune disease, and more? The pharmacrats react by quietly and stealthily pushing a bill through the California state legislature that would strip informed consent from parents and allow secret vaccination of children as young as 12 with vaccines such as Gardasil and hepatitis B, as well as all future vaccines for sexually transmitted diseases. Trial date set for Justice Department lawsuit to block AT&T, T-Mobile merger. A federal judge on Wednesday set a mid-February trial date to hear the Justice Department's arguments for blocking the $39 billion merger of AT&T and T-Mobile. U.S. District Court Judge Alan Lavelle also dismissed rival Sprint Nextel's request to join Justice's lawsuit, saying it would only slow down the process in deciding Justice's case against the merger. Wall Street has shown Americans how they feel about protests with a recent video on YouTube. The video shows unidentified occupants watching protests from the balconies of Wall Street in amusement while sipping champagne,